Welcome to the locker room, everybody. Um, Sorry for the not having my intro. I have absolutely no idea where it is. I promise I will have that back next week. But jumping into everything, starting off with college football, there's some stuff that has been going on with Michigan and Jim Harbaugh lately. So if you didn't know, he was suspended at the beginning of the season for 4 games. It was a self-imposed suspension, I guess. I don't really know if that's fully true, but nonetheless, he was suspended after being investigated by the NCAA. They couldn't stick him with anything, so he kind of gave himself, I'm putting that in air quotes because I'm pretty sure that came from the school, to at least do something so then the NCAA could get off his back. They suspended him for 4 games. Yada yada. Everything went off without a hitch. Now he's back and has been winning, and his team won without him regardless. But now the NCAA is accusing him of sending staff to games of future opponents in the same season, which is illegal. It's against NCAA rules. And he's sending that staff or those people to go try and steal signs for future opponents this season, which is a huge no-no in the NCAA, which honestly I think is funny because that's just called scouting, but honestly I don't really care. This makes no difference to me, especially coming from an Ohio State fan. We're going to beat Michigan either way, but I just think it's funny that he is being investigated by the NCAA. I also think it's funny because I know a lot of Michigan fans, and they all say, "Oh, Harbaugh's runs such a clean program." No, he doesn't. Honestly, I don't care if you cheat. Honestly, I think if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So, I don't know. This makes no difference to me. I just hope that Harbaugh let them buy cheeseburgers at the game because, if you don't know, the reason why he was suspended at the beginning of the season for 4 games was because he took some recruits out to get them some lunch somewhere and to talk with them and bought them cheeseburgers. So basically the whole thing boiled down to he was suspended for 4 games for buying recruits burgers, which I think is ridiculous. But nonetheless, he is being investigated. I don't think he will get punished for anything. I think they're just going to, what it kind of seems like it's heading towards right now is the blame's going to be put on some staffer, and they'll give him some compensation for that, and everything will blow over. But moving into the actual games, not talking about too many games, just 4 games that I thought were worthwhile talking about. The first one is USC, Utah. USC's 18th. Utah is 14th. Not much to say in this. I feel like Utah will win this one. They have a good team, and USC is coming off of an embarrassing loss to Notre Dame, losing, I believe it was 42-24, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it up in front of me. But I feel like Utah will win this, coming in and just upsetting USC. I feel like it's possible. Utah has a good team. I have Utah winning that one. Next up is the Alabama-Tennessee game. Bama 11th. Tennessee is 17th. Honestly, this is a good game. I don't think it will be a repeat of last year. I do think it'll still be a good, close game. But I don't think Alabama, and Saban mainly, will let Tennessee beat them again. I also don't think that Tennessee has the talent that they did last year to beat Alabama this year. I think Alabama is underrated a little bit from that one loss that they had earlier this season. I think they've grown a lot. Milroe has grown a lot and stepped into his role as quarterback a lot more, and I like what I'm seeing from Milroe. So yeah, I have Alabama win that one. Moving on to Florida State, Duke. Florida State being 4th, Duke being 16th. I honestly think that Duke will upset Florida State and win. Duke only really it did upset. I believe their upset was against Clemson week 1, and that was when Clemson was ranked 9th. And I've said on the show before, Clemson always still has that Trevor Lawrence effect, which I kind of see tapering off as we go along, and as Trevor Lawrence stays in the NFL longer, or is in the NFL longer, and we get it farther away from Trevor Lawrence being at Clemson. But Clemson was ranked, I believe, 9th at the time, and was still technically good by AP poll preseason AP poll standards, which are meaningless. But Duke beat them nonetheless and played really well, and have really played well against everyone else. Granted, they've only played 2 decent teams in Clemson and Notre Dame. Now, they did lose to Notre Dame, but they only lost by 7, and I know I hate saying this, and I know Ethan also hates saying this, and Ethan's not here, but that was a good loss for Duke. They showed that they can play against some good teams and play against the best of them, and I feel like against a team like Florida State, Duke definitely has a chance and will definitely be good. It also helps that Florida State really hasn't beaten anyone since week 1 when they beat LSU, which, understandably, beating LSU, yeah, LSU has a great offense, but they have arguably one of the worst defenses in college football right now. It's ridiculous. Horrible defense. Electric offense, though. Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind. Actually, and I'm not 100%, but I think Jaden Daniels is injured, but I'm not 100%. I think I saw that somewhere. I don't remember. But nonetheless, I do have Duke winning that one, upsetting Florida State. Now for the college football game of the week, it is Ohio State versus Penn State. Ohio State being 3rd, Penn State being 7th. Honestly, coming from an Ohio State fan, I am a little worried about this game. Both teams have tremendous defenses, some of the best in the country, but both offenses don't really have an identity, if that makes sense. Take Ohio State's offense, for example. Ohio State, well, it's mainly our quarterback. I don't know why I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I think it's McCory. He isn't the greatest, but I don't expect him to. He's stepping into a role where we had C.J. Stroud and before that Justin Fields. If you remember, C.J. Stroud didn't start off the best at Ohio State. And he was struggling. Granted, we're, I think, 8 weeks in to the season, and McCoy is still not developing at the rate that you want to see. But he's still a solid quarterback, and he wouldn't still be starting if he wasn't talented enough to be starting. Or our backup quarterback just sucks more than McCoy. But I do think this will be a great game. I am scared that Penn State will upset Ohio State because this is the best opportunity that Penn State has had in years. Since I believe Saquon was there when they upset Ohio State. But yeah, I do think Ohio State will still win this game, but it will definitely be close. It'll be more like that Ohio State-Notre Dame game we had earlier in the season. But nonetheless, moving on to the NBA, I know the Pacers have their last preseason game tonight, and the season starts in 5 days, which, if I'm not mistaken, is Tuesday. Remember what day that is. I'm actually checking. Okay, so the season starts on October 25th, which is a Wednesday. I'm kind of excited for the season, especially for the Pacers. I feel like this will be a good season for the Pacers from everything that I've been reading. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting year. And honestly, I think this is a team that can win 50 games and be legitimate or be in the playoffs. Now, they'll probably end up being a play-in team, which kind of sucks, but I could see them being a 6 seed and avoiding the whole play-in tournament mess, which I could 100% see that in this team, especially with Halliburton looking healthy, and as long as he stays healthy, we'll be able to stay with that prediction at 50 wins, 45 to 50 wins. But and it also helps that we have Obi Toppin, which I'm not going to lie, Obi Toppin's game complements Halliburton's so well. Halliburton is a pass-first type of player, and he has great vision and great passing, and being able for Toppin to roll out under the rim or into the paint and be able to catch that pass from Halliburton as soon as he gets there and go up for a shot, that's going to get us easily 10 to 15 points a game, which we desperately need. And we got some defensive players in Jarris Walker, and it's starting to look like Ben Shepherd's a decent defensive player. So we'll see. Also, for all those people who think Jarris Walker isn't going to be good because of preseason games and summer league games that they have seen, that means nothing. Preseason and summer league games mean absolutely nothing. You cannot tell a player's talent facing G League players, basically. It's ridiculous. I don't want to hear it. Jarris Walker will be just fine. Ben Shepherd, yeah, he's playing great in preseason. I don't care. He will be a solid player. He's not, I don't know if he'll be a star or not, and I'm not going to say he's not going to be, because I don't know. I haven't watched much of him. But stop saying that players are going to be Hall of Famers after preseason. It's ridiculous. Wait till they play meaningful regular season minutes in the NBA and tell me that. That also correlates to something that I saw earlier today, was looking at, I forget who put it out, but the NBA top 100 players coming into the season. Victor Wembanyama was 4th. Why was he 4th? He has not played a single minute of meaningful NBA basketball. That is absolutely ridiculous. Why is he 4th? Why? Yeah, I know you want him to be the second coming of LeBron or Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell. I don't know what he'll be like, but it's absolutely ridiculous that after 4 or 5 preseason games or whatever he's played, that he's considered the 4th best player in the league. That's ridiculous. But nonetheless, going back to the Pacers, I do think that the Pacers will win 50 games, and I do think that Ben Shepherd and Jarris Walker will be good. I also think Mathurin will take a step up, and Andrew Nebhart will also take a step up, and I think that's going to be a great thing for the Pacers. Also, staying with the NBA, I know this is not for a long, long time, and the season hasn't even started, but I was reading an article earlier today saying that Adam Silver wants to change the All-Star game to make it East versus West again and get rid of that whole drafting All-Star. I don't really care. That makes no difference. But it made me think of something of how the All-Star game is played. So they make it sound so smart they make it sound so confusing so it seems smart, but in reality it might be the dumbest format ever. They say it's structured like each quarter is its own individual score, and they say at the end we'll total that up and make a overall score, which I don't see how that's any different from any other NBA game. That's literally what a box score is. That's what that's for. There's no need to make it seem like, oh, it's this brand new idea. No, it's not. It's been around since the beginning of James Neesmith created basketball back when it was still called Peach Ball. That's ridiculous. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about that because that kind of made me a little mad. But moving on to the MLB, we're in playoffs, And the ALCS is Astros-Rangers, which is tied at 2-2 right now. The Rangers were up 2-0, but the Astros came back 1-2 straight. I do think that the Rangers will end up winning this series, especially with Max Scherzer coming back in Game 5, which is tonight. And honestly, with Max Scherzer playing, I don't see how that Astros... wow, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, that's what it was. I don't see how the Astros can hit against a great player again, or a great pitcher against Max Scherzer. I just don't see how they can do it. It also, what makes me think that the Astros are going to lose the game tonight as well as the series is the Astros manager. I forget his first name. Oh, Dusty Baker is his name. And he was complaining about how the Rangers were having their roof closed for this game and how that's going to affect everything. Who cares? If you think you're going to lose, just say that you think you're going to lose. Dusty Baker needs to stop complaining and just play. Just manage. It's ridiculous. Stop complaining. But moving on to the NLCS is Phillies, Diamondbacks. Phillies have the lead 2-1. Phillies are definitely going to win this. I don't see a way for the Diamondbacks to win this unless they find a way to be able to pitch to the Phillies without the Phillies hitting every single ball. I'm pretty sure last game, when the Diamondbacks did win, by the way, but the last game that the Phillies and Diamondbacks played, Bryce Harper scored on a wild pitch. You're not going to win games. You're not going to win, you're not going to win a playoff series when on every chance you give them, the Phillies will find a way to score. There's nothing that I can see that the Diamondbacks can do to beat the Phillies in this series. So I think that the World Series is going to end up being Phillies-Rangers. Now, I know I'm pretty sure, 99% certain that the Phillies will be in the World Series no matter what. But the Rangers, about 70% confident that they will make it, but there is still the chance that the Astros do win the ALCS and make it to the World Series just solely based off of their playoff experience and them winning championships. But moving on to NFL, starting off with the Colts with the NFL. Anthony Richardson is out for the season with a shoulder injury. He decided to get surgery on the shoulder after hurting it. And honestly, I think that is a smart decision. This is a season that you want to tank, especially if you want a high draft pick, and especially if you want to get another key piece in Marvin Harrison Jr. But I've also seen some stuff that the Colts might get Jerry Jeudy. I've seen a couple things on that. I don't know how true that is. We'll see, but honestly, I wouldn't worry this season. If you guys suck, you guys can get a high draft pick. You'll be fine. If you guys don't suck, you still might get Jerry Jeudy. So if you don't get either, I'd complain a little bit, but at least you get to see Gardner Minshew play, who is honestly a competent backup. I feel like he could start. He's definitely a great start, or he's definitely starter material, I should say. Definitely is able to start, be able to carry a team, and be able to play very, very well at a high level. And I feel like he can carry your team to a second in the division, maybe playoffs, if the Jaguars somehow fall off a cliff, basically. But I don't really see how Richardson getting hurt and having Minshew as your starting quarterback hurts you. I don't see anything bad about that. But honestly, the Colts are still the Colts. I feel like they'll find a way to be mediocre, get a decent pick, lose everything, or not get Jerry Jeudy, and basically turn Anthony Richardson into Andrew Luck 2.0, which would be the worst thing to happen to them basically since Luck retired. Actually, no, I'd say that'd be the worst thing since Peyton messed up his neck or injured his neck and left for the Broncos. Wow, you guys have the Colts have a long history of injuring players and letting them go, and basically forcing them to either move to another team or retire. But moving on to some other games, or to some games coming up on Sunday. First talking about the game that happened last night, the Thursday night game, was Jacksonville versus Saints. Jags won 34-24. And honestly, going into half, the Jags looked to be up looked to have a pretty solid lead on this. It was 17-10 going into halftime. And in the third quarter, the Jags scored a touchdown, while the Saints kicked a field goal, so it made it 9-, I believe, 24, if my math is correct. So 24-9. Then fourth quarter rolls around. Jags score another touchdown. Okay, gives them 31. The Saints score 15 points in the fourth quarter and still lost. They just ran out of time. I don't understand how that happens, because I know that touchdown from the Jags came very late in the game. So I don't know what happened, because I turned it off at halftime so then I could at least get a little bit of sleep. But yeah, Jacksonville won, and yeah, I don't really know what happened in that game. I know that the Saints ran out of time, but still, you can't be leading comebacks in the fourth quarter and expect to win games. That's ridiculous. But moving on to some other games that I think will actually be good, is the first one is Lions-Ravens. Lions 5-1, Ravens 4-2. Both great teams. Lions will definitely make the playoffs because the NFC North absolutely sucks, which I hate to say with my Packers being in there. But the Lions are good. I give them their props. They've rebuilt nicely, especially with that nice defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson coming off the edge. Oh, that's a nice defense. And that offense is pretty good. Jared Goff has been proving himself to be a good quarterback, not washed like everyone thought he was when he got traded away from the Rams. Yeah, the Lions did take a blow at running back, having David Montgomery getting injured, but they still have Jahmyr Gibbs, who is a great backup, and I don't know why he's the backup, but still. But going up against the Ravens, who have a good defense, in my opinion, and honestly, just a terrible offense, if we're being honest. Lamar Jackson's the only bright spot in that offense right now. But yeah, I do have the Lions winning that one, just solely based off of the Ravens not having a good offense this year and their receivers not being able to catch the ball. But yeah, moving on to another game is Chiefs-Chargers. Chiefs are 5-1, Chargers are 2-3. The Chiefs-Chargers games are always fun to watch. They're always close. Definitely going to be a must-watch game, and I'm pretty sure the entire country gets that one. So yeah, we'll be able to see that. But yeah, I have Chiefs winning this one solely based off of the Chargers having Brandon Staley as their head coach. He leads the league in choked away wins, and that's a stat that I not keep track of. I just made that up. But yeah, I do have the Chiefs winning this one, but it will be a close one. It'll definitely be within 3. But yeah, Chargers win that one. Chiefs win that one. Now, last game I'm going to talk about is Eagles-Dolphins. Both teams are 5-1. Both teams have electric offenses. Eagles have a really good defense. I don't know much about Miami's defense. I haven't seen a full game of them. every time that I turn them on, they're always on offense, so I haven't seen anything from their defense. Don't know how it is. So, yeah, I do have the Eagles winning this one, though, solely based off of the Eagles' defense and how I feel like they have the ability to lock down Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, which leaves Chase Claypool for Tua to throw to. But we'll see what happens in that game. Yeah, that's all I have for the NFL. Moving on to the last thing. It's pretty quick. Hockey. I've never talked about it on here, and this will probably be the last time that I talk about it, but it's fun to watch. I did not know hockey was that fun. The rules aren't that confusing. If you're not watching hockey, you definitely should be. It is very fun. They let players fight. It's just fun to watch. The only thing that I don't like about it is how it's kind of hard to see where the puck is. But still, you can, once you start watching it a little bit, you can kind of figure it out. It's fun to watch the hits that these players take, their creativity in shootouts, which from what little I've seen is kind of controversial, but the creativity part of it. But yeah, hockey is kind of fun to watch. I've been watching a lot of Penguins, Rangers, and Blackhawks. Those teams are fun to watch. Sidney Crosby, I know he's old, but he's been really fun to watch. Connor Bedard, been fun to watch. From what I understand, he's like the NHL's version of what LeBron was when he was coming into the league. So, yeah. But, yeah, that's all I have for you this week. I will see you next week at 3. Peace.
This is your home for the best new hits. J89 The Jam, WJEL.
You cannot